Hello everyone. Today we're going to take a look at using the DateTimePicker Control in C# Windows Forms here. And I also want to go over the DateTime struct and the TimeSpan struct. We will be using both of those to write very readable code for our answer here. So the first thing we want to do is add that DateTimePicker Control here. I'm going to rename mine DateTimePicker CTRL for control without any vowels. Now that we have the control on here, we want to create an application that's going to test the user with this question. We want them to pick the right date. And as you can see, I have an answer here for the right date. So we want to shout out a correct result if this is the date the person chooses. That's what we're going to do, or we're going to let them know how far away they are. The first thing I want to do is update the value field of this DateTimePicker control. That's right here. We can go through the app. We can go through this little window to select the value, or we can just type it in. Now this value, we don't want the value to match the answer, right? But we just want to get them close in the right neighborhood. So we're going to just pick the first of that month and the year. And you can see over here that DateTimePicker updated with that value. So now at least the DateTimePicker is in the right month so that they're not looking in the right year. So at least they're looking in the right area. Otherwise, it could be a while to find the right answer if they don't know. Of course, they could just put it in a calculator if they really wanted to. Another way to change that value, you can also change the value. Any property that you see right there can be changed right here. To change the value, you do need to give it a date time variable here. And we would use something like parse exact, and then we would give it the format that it wants. This format needs to match your input here. And then it's also asking us for a little bit more information, the I format provider. And this is the one I see commonly used in variant culture here. So this would do the same thing as we did earlier, which is modify this property. Anything you see here, you can modify by naming the control and using the dot property here. Yeah, that's how we can update that value. And now let's build a little logic here. I would actually put this, that's why I put the form load here. I would use the form load event to modify that. Now let's do selected value changed. So this event will occur anytime the person uses the calendar built into this date control picker here. Then they'll get, this function will run. The first thing we want to do is let's grab the information that the user chose for the date here. We're going to call it selected date. Then we use the control, and then we just use this value here. The value returns a date time, just like the value here. It returns this date time struct. We're using the built-in date time struct, which has a lot of useful functionality. We're going to use this exact same code up here. This is the correct date. And instead of this, value, which just chose the month, let's put in the answer variable that we have up here. So now we have two date times, and you can do some cool things with these date time structures. You can compare them with an equal sign operator. Yes. And let's do that with correct date here. Now we're comparing the two dates to see if they exactly match, which is going to tell us if they got the answer right or not. And in this case, if the two dates match, we're just going to tell the user that answer was correct. Now let's handle the more common and more likely case of them getting the wrong answer. And for that, we're going to use a TimeSpan variable, because what we can do here is subtract. We want to tell them how far away their date choice is from the answer that we're expecting. So that's what we can use this TimeSpan struct, also native to .NET here. And the way we're going to call that time TS delta, so representing TimeSpan delta being how far away they are. And that's going to be this, but without the overloaded equal sign, we're going to do the overloaded minus operator here. And now we're going to get a TS delta. So we're going to get a TimeSpan struct. Let's just use the days. So we'll call that days delta. And then we can use the dot property here for total days. Perfect. And then the last thing we'll do is display how far away they were with their choice. So we'll use a message box. And then we will use selected date to short string. So this will display the date that they've chosen, and we're going to let them know, do some string concatenation here. The wrong date, modify by, and now we're going to let them know how far away they were, which is days delta, and that's currently a double, so we need to convert that to a string. Let's start a new line here. And then we're going to let them know that that number represents days, or it could be 1 day, so we'll put the plural in parentheses to represent that they could just be 1 day off. And this should meet all of our expectations here. So just to refresh what our expectations are, we have a question here, we have an answer, and the user is going to select a date until they get the correct date. So let's run our program here. Okay, so this is the wrong date. We have April 2nd, 2019 is the wrong date, modified by -8 days. Actually, we need to flip these two variables, and then we won't get a minus, we'll get a plus. So now that I've flipped those variables, modify by 8 days, and then if we went this direction, modify by -6 days. Nice. And let's also check the correct result here, and we get a correct answer back. So right there, that's a very simple use of the DateTimePicker Control, the DateTime Struct, and the TimeSpan Struct. Thanks for watching my video here, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.